All right, before we get into the next group of molecules to talk about, let's go over quiz 1 from last time. And I'm just going to start right off here with number 1. The molecule there is what? Beta-caryophyllene. It is chemical formula is C15H24. Class of the molecule is, first of all, molecular weight's 204. Class of the molecule, Sesquiterpene. Significant oils that it's in is clove and ylang-ylang. Clove is probably what most people put because that's the sample you have. And the sample ID was number 2. Now note here, people who missed number 2 and number 3, those questions are not, you don't even have to have this course. Those are basic chemistry questions that you could deduce just by counting atoms. It would save you time to remember that a sesquiterpene is always C15H24, and then maybe kind of remember that always equates to 204, but you don't have to do that. You know, it could have been calculated just by counting the atoms. Okay, how many of you, who here is not in the group on Facebook? Anyone? Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm on there or not. I tried to get on, but I haven't noticed anything on there.
Okay, well,
would I be getting like toast or something if I was on there?
you probably should, and so let's try and let me know on the break if you don't see if you're not accepted. I'll double check too, but that's going to be to your benefit to have access to those notes, and if you need to look back at a lecture or whatnot. Okay. Let's go on then to the next one. That molecule is alpha-pinene. Its chemical formula is C10H16, as all monoterpenes are. The molecular weight's 136. And, I hope I don't have to do this for anyone in here, but, if the formula is C10H16, the way we get the molecular weight is 10 carbon atoms at 12 units each plus 16 hydrogen atoms at 1 unit each equals 136. That's how that's calculated. The same process would have been done for a sesquiterpene, which is C15H24, and you should come up with 204. Okay, molecular weight's 136, class is monoterpene. An oil that this is found in a significant amount would be cypress. Frankincense would have been another acceptable answer. There's plenty of acceptable answers here, but most of you would have put cypress because that's what's in your kit. A sample ID number would be number 5 in this case. Okay, number 13, name of that molecule. First of all, if you didn't know the names of any of these, if you didn't memorize them but you had some kind of idea, you could have eliminated a lot of possibilities. Those are the only 2 in the middle that are monoterpenes, so that could have helped you by just counting that number of atoms made those monoterpenes. But anyway, that was limonene. Specifically, the way it's drawn there is L-limonene, but I wasn't expecting you to put that. Chemical formula, C10H16 again. Molecular weight's 136. It's a monoterpene. Name of an essential oil that it has a significant amount. You could have named any citrus oil. Most of you put orange oil because that's, again, what's in your kit. And that is corresponding to sample ID number 6. And the last one there is paracymene. chemical formula is C10H14. The molecular weight is 134. It's an aromatic hydrocarbon. It's found in thyme and oregano in significant amounts. And sample ID number 7. Okay. '25. Name the medicine system that has its origins in India and is one of the oldest forms of medicine practiced by man. It is the Ayurvedic. That's anytime someone says Indian medicine, that should be what comes to your mind. Number 26. Now, honestly, here I thought I was giving you a gift, but I was surprised how many people missed that question. How many Greek doctors do we know? And, he's going to be the Hippocratic Oath, hopefully everybody's heard of. And that was Hippocrates. Some people made it harder than it had to be. 27, name the Arab known as the Great Physician, who's credited with discovering distillation, is Avicenna. The early scientists who believed most everything in the physical is made up of 4 basic elements: earth, air, fire, and water. Those are the alchemists, of course. The term, number 29, the term that those in question 28 used to describe what they believed to be the 5th element when they first distilled EOs is the quintessence or the quintessential. Okay, so far, I just want to ask, people that are missing a lot of this section of the test, is there anyone who did not download the notes from the website, from the Facebook? Obviously you didn't, because you didn't know you had access. But hopefully those notes, I can see where you may have missed some if you didn't download, but hopefully those notes helped you. What is the region in southern France that is considered to be the Mecca of modern perfumery? That is Grasse. That is something that you probably want to be aware of, whether you're in this industry or not. I mean, that's something you're going to get hit with if you get on Jeopardy or something like that.
What was
Grasse, Grasse. And another general knowledge question that really, would be something that you'd probably want to know just as general knowledge is what essential oil that was produced in that region that led to that becoming the capital of perfumery was lavender oil. 32. Last name of the French perfumer chemist who coined the term aromatherapy with an IE after being badly burned in a 1928 lab accident was Gattefosse. Gattefosse. Gatefosse. 33. The last name of the French doctor who wrote Practice of Aromatherapy in 1964. That was Valnet, who is dead, by the way. Your notes, I think, indicated that he is still alive, but he's not. Died in the 90s, late 90s. That's how old those notes are. 34. Polarity in molecules is observed as a result of bonding atoms within a molecule having differences in what property? Again, a question that has universal application in just about any chemistry course. It's not specific to this class. What is the answer? Electronegativity, right? 35, the significant polarity within the OH bond leads to extra strong intermolecular attractive forces known as what? Another general chemistry question. Hydrogen bonding. All terpenes are said to be built up from what molecular unit referred to as one of nature's building blocks? something that you would have learned in this class, probably no other, is the what unit? Isoprene, yeah. Chemical formula of that building block, number 37, is C5H8. A diterpene consists of how many of the aforementioned building block units? How many isoprene units make up a diterpene? 4, right? What is the most abundant molecule in all of the combined world of essential oil production? I hope no one missed that. I can't remember if anybody did, but Really? I made a big deal about that. It is limonene, of course. And the reason is, not only is limonene a tiny percentage of just about everything, but it's the major component of all citrus, except for one citrus. And citrus, by far, exceeds the production of any other essential oil, okay? For the flavoring industry, fragrance industry, mainly for flavor industry. I mean, massive, massive amounts of citrus oil. It's in Coca-Cola, it's in Sprite, it's in a lot of drinks, a lot of food flavorings, and it's, there's a lot of juice. Whenever you have juice production, the peel and stuff that's left over, it goes on for the essential oil production. Just massive amounts of this stuff. Okay. 40. True or false? Essential oils perform a similar function in the plant as blood does in humans. If you missed that, you didn't come to class. Of course, that's false. That was one of my fingernails on the chalkboard type deals where people say that kind of thing. And if you remember, why isn't it analogous to blood? Pardon? Yeah? It's a secondary metabolite. What's the function of blood? Transport, circulation, yeah. So it doesn't behave anything like that. The essential oils typically held in little sacs on the leaf or whatever, the part of the plant you're distilling. If you've been following the EOU Facebook page, I actually have an electron micrograph of a close-up of what those little essential oil sacs look like on a peppermint leaf. So obviously, that oil is not flowing through the veins of the plant and acting as a transport system. It is the end product of the metabolism. Of course, people don't like to say it's the excrement of the plant. Doesn't mean it's not useful. It is useful. It's useful to the plant's survival, but it's not the blood of the plant. What? Is it a byproduct? Well, it is the result of metabolism, but evolutionarily speaking, it becomes a beneficial result of the metabolism because those plants that evolved that way to produce that oil survived, let's say, against certain fungus or predators or whatever. So those went on to further survive. Okay. Let's see, that was, 40. That was 40. I'll say 41. Another one that I specifically highlighted. Now, a lot of people miss this. Essential oil, true or false? Essential oils are extracted by steam distillation. That's false. Yeah. Why is it false? Extracted. Because a word extracted. They're obtained by steam distillation, but they are not extracted. Why is that an improper term? By the definition, the very definition of extraction, what must be used? A solvent, right. There's no solvent here in steam distillation. So a little bit of a tricky question, but if you paid attention in class, I was pretty boisterous about that point. Okay, 42. Aromatic products that are obtained by a two-stage extraction process, first involving hexane, followed by ethanol extraction, is the production of what? What are we making there? Absolute. 43, the process described in 42 involves an initial extraction with hexane. What is the product left after hexane is evaporated? What's that called? Concrete, yes. Hexane is a straight chain alkane. What is the chemical formula? And you could have drawn it out. Some people actually put the drawn out structure but didn't put the formula. When I say chemical formula, that doesn't mean a skeletal structure. It means just give me the number of carbons and the number of hydrogen. And in this case, if you didn't know, you could count it out, or you could just remember that the formula for any straight chain alkane is always CnH2n plus 2. So it's C6H14. Number 45, name the 9-carbon alkene with double bond at the first carbon. That would be 1-nonene, or just nonene, I would accept. Name the 3-carbon alkyne. That would be what? Propyne. Or acetylene was the trivial name, but 47, what is the most commonly found alkane in essential oils? That was a little bit, you had to dig in the memory banks for that one. But I did mention it in that group, and it should have stood out for a certain reason. But what's the answer? Most common alkane. Tricycline. Remember, and it stood out because it ends in ene, but it's actually an alkane. And 48 through 50, identify the oils of your remaining 3 unknowns. Number 1 was cypress oil. 3 was wild orange or orange. 4 was oregano. Okay. Some of you, I don't know, maybe hopefully it's cleared up by now, but I think some were still a little confused as to they were confusing a component of an essential oil with an essential oil. So they were saying, limonene orange, or, let's if there's any confusion at that point, let's understand that an essential oil is a collection of a lot of molecules, and when I put on that key, limonene, and then orange over to the side, that's just telling you what oil that molecule is found in. Okay? Any questions over anything on the test? Looks easy now, doesn't it? So I'm pretty sure this next quiz is going to be easier for you. Not as many questions because we don't have all that history stuff, and so there's going to be more weight on the odor and the structural stuff and the classification and that kind of stuff. So more chemistry, more weight on the chemistry aspect, more weight on the odor identification. Any points of clarification before we go into the test on alcohols? No?
Vetiver oil.
Vetiver oil?
said that's found in vetiver or grass. You said something about
Vetiver, okay, yeah. Concerning vetiver oil. Vetiver is a grass, okay? And it's a type of grass. The species is Vetiveria zizanoides, or zizanoides, however you pronounce that. And it is a grass, and you get the oil from the roots of the grass. And the main component, one of the main components, is a component called zizanol or vetiverol. A lot of times people will talk about, and this is common in the essential oil industry, they'll say, what is the total vetiverols in that oil? Now, that isn't just vetiverol, that's like a sum of all the main sesquiterpene alcohols in there, even though they're not called vetiverol. Some of them are called other things, but they lump it all into one category and call it, right. These are sesquiterpene alcohols that are pretty unique to vetiver, and that's what they want to know, because vetiver is one of the most complex oils in all of essential oils. I mean, it is a mess. If you ever look at a GC of vetiver, it's just one big, huge number of peaks all clumped together, hard to separate all of them.
vetiver.
Huh?
Vetiver.
Vetiver, V-E-T-I-V-E-R. And so they generally kind of just look at a section of that chromatogram, combine all those sesquiterpene alcohols, total them up, and tell you the total vetiverol content. But there is a structure that's typically identified as vetiverol as well. Okay, and we didn't really smell any sesquiterpene alcohols in this, and so I would like to, before we do that, before we get on to the test, let you smell an example of that. This is unlike anything else you're going to be smelling. This is, I don't have an example of, actually I do, but I don't have with me an example of a pure sesquiterpenol. The easiest one to obtain would have been cedrol. But this is Hawaiian sandalwood oil, which is, most people have never smelled. And it has a large percentage of sesquiterpene alcohols known as xantalols. And if you smelled the pure, you would smell this in there, the pure components. But you will notice a definite woody character to this. I'm going to put this in groups of two so y'all can share them here. Very woody in character. Very expensive oil too. Yeah, this is sandalwood oil. Hawaiian sandalwood. Can you pass that down to him when you're done? You all have smelled it before. There's a lot of fake sandalwood out there that you might have smelled on the market, but this stuff, you know, is probably worth about $3,000 a kilo. Everybody get that woody character from it? And that's typical of a sesquiterpene alcohol.
What is the odor descriptor for coriander oil? Is it
Coriander?
floral and a little fruity?
Yes. Yep. Floral and fruity, I would say. Herbal even too. You could use that in there. But I would say it's a real close one between floral and fruity. I would probably give the edge to floral with a fruity. Pardon? I don't know. There's many different potpourris. You like it? Yeah. Anything else on the alcohols before we get this quiz out of the way? No? All right. Well. Let's take a break on the filming and we'll get going on the test.